Morning guys, Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training. This recently we just had a couple online internet famous, as I might say, trainers that popped up online. There was a video going around with a bunch of decoys working a dog with a bunch of bottles. They're all in suits and they're all pounding on the dog with these larger gallon bottles, and it's not gonna kill the dog or hurt the dog, but if you read the animal and you see what's going on, you know right away, if you've got any experience, you've been doing this for any length of time, you know that that's not a good situation. Okay, so then all of a sudden a couple of people posted on it and the video got posted under Steve Stoops, Zane dog man. He's been military dog handler and just pretty much very well respected in his area. Then nobody knows him because it's, military doesn't let people see what they're doing with their dogs, right? So this guy's been tactical, been out there doing it for a lot of years. He's now retired, and it is what it is. So with this internet bullshit, social media, everything can get out of hand and be such a dramatic thing. But here's the point of view and why I wanted to chime in, because I have enough experience under my belt to be able to feel like I have the ability to put out an opinion that might be respected. Okay, when you see a lot of these sports nowadays, they build up to PSA is the one that's started a lot of this. The gentleman that has the PSA club and has started all that and been doing that and building that sport out for 20 some odd years is built up to where they've got a level 1, 2, and 3. And as you get more and more, they have can screens, they have bottles, they have all kinds of things. And the idea behind this is that the dog has to get through a pressure squeeze and get in and finally work his way through it to bite the bad guy. Now, it's very applicable in law enforcement because the bad guy is not going to sit there and let himself get bit. He's going to hide. He's going to go under mattresses. He's going to grab some chairs or whatever he's got at hand, or she at hand. And if they're too stupid to follow directions and they don't want to come out and do what they're being asked to do by law enforcement, they're going to send the dog in. The dog's job is to get in there and have to possibly take the man down or the female, whatever it may be. And when that happens, anything can happen. There's, in real life, you don't know what's going to come at you. And the goal is to build that dog to a point where he will work his way through that pressure. So that's where it comes from, right? Now, when you read the dog's body language and you look at that dog is still wanting to do his job and still out there taking that, let's call it abuse in this case, because if you read the animal and you see it, here's the failing. And this is what I've worked street dogs, and I'm back from the 70s and the 80s when we used to really do a lot of civil agitation, and that's sad, and pinch and pinch paws and grab ears and all kinds of things to piss a dog off and make him mad and get on the civil side of things, area guard dog type of work. But over the years, we've learned and grown, right? We no longer do that sort of thing to any degree, not because of the public. I could give a hoot what the general public feels about it. Yes, it's a little bit more abusive and it's wrong, okay? But the reality of it, what does it do to the dog's mental perspective in the work? That's what I care about, right? Because I'm out there to build a dog, not to break a dog down. There's the difference, okay? And that's what you see in that video, is that dog is not going to be, it's not a positive thing for the dog to go through that. Now, you can sit there and rationalize it and say, okay, yeah, well, the dog's got to be able to work his way through. He's got to be able to take the pressure. He's got to be able to, you can talk yourself blue in the face rationalizing that viewpoint, and you're full of shit, okay? And the reason I say that is because your job is to build a dog. And when you do the work that you get to, when you go PSA 1, 2, and 3, and the dog's accepting that much pressure with all those decoys and all that pressure that's being put on the dog to work his way through it, and the dog does it on the trial field and it wins and it shows the dog's strength and all that, I mean, it's justified in that regards. But because they built those dogs to handle the pressure and slowly, methodically work his way through it. But in a training sense, your job is to build a dog and never give him that kernel of doubt in his mind that he can not win, right? And when you don't understand that perspective, and you don't give to the dog and let him find his way in and give him his bite so he wins, and the dog grows confidence and learns how to get through that pressure, you're failing the dog and you're failing yourself, because you're not doing justice to what your job is. Your job is to build the dog, right? And it really irritates the hell out of me. A lot of these kids are out there and they think this is all that and that, and they're getting there out of PSA and Canine Street League and these other sports that have a little bit of pressure involved with it, and they're justifying their actions of that video and what was going on there, and starting, you can't do that, you ain't going to get a dog that's going to be able to go downfield and handle the pressure of the real life, reality and truth. If you look at that dog's body language and you see what was happening, 3 or 4 people sitting there pounding on that dog as he's trying to stay in the fight, you did no good for that dog. That dog was not learning and growing and doing what you need to do, which is to always look at the dog and you want to make him get to the next level, That particular dog in that particular situation was having nothing but negative being put on it. And so what you do when you do that, I don't give a hoot. I got one trainer that I know, he's a friend, and I'll say it and he'll probably hear this and be a little upset by it. He has a tendency to live in the world of street training and to want to piss the dog off, and he's always talking about, I want to get a 10 out of that. I don't want to leave the dog until he gets to a 10 and showing me, and then he drives me away and then he wins. It's a viable way of thinking to a certain degree, but when you live in that mode all the time, and that's how you approach your training, you're not doing the dog any good. You're basically, again, leaving that dog with a kernel of doubt in his mind or her mind that they can win, okay? Your job is to make that dog always think that they're God and that they will be able to get through that, and then show them the opportunity is there and let them have their bite and just keep growing that, right? I don't have any idea where your fucking head was at. Excuse my language, but I'm pretty peeved, because here's what happened. Steve Zane posted the video and I got to see it down below as he's talking about this, right? And I'm watching the dog, I'm reading the body language of the dog, and I'm reading the decoy's attitudes, and I'm seeing nothing but what I don't agree with, right? Because you gave that dog no opportunity to win. You didn't show him, you didn't teach him anything. All you did was taught him that pressure is there and this doesn't feel good, and there was nothing but negative in that dog's body language. There was no learning experience in that dog, in that scenario you were throwing at that dog. That dog wasn't winning, and you didn't show the dog how to win and end up where you leave the dog in that positive frame of mind where they win in the event. And that's where you're wrong, okay? So bottom line, and then that's what's got me mad, is because everybody started chiming in on it. There's a big group of these guys online that are decoys out there with different sports, and they're out there for their own egos more than they are anything else, because that's the fallacy of social media. It creates this crap because they want to show off to their friends, and they want to put the videos out there and be the big man, and their egos are all over the place. Social media sucks for that one reason, okay? Because that's what's happening to our dog field. In other words, the professionalism in our dog field is being affected by social media, right? And because everybody's out there for clickbait and to show this, it's wrong, right? So if you're going to step back and look at yourself as a trainer, and you want to try to convince yourself that you're justified in doing that kind of action to a dog, you're wrong. And then to be so naive that you would post that online doesn't say much for your character, son. Okay? And I know who this group is, and you know you've already had a little head button with me, right? And the reason I came at you strong is because I don't agree with your lifestyle and how you're carrying yourself in going through things, all right? And I won't mention any names, but I'll guarantee you, bottom line, you were the first one to step up and be all righteous and get all in the man's face that posted that. That man's got more experience in his little finger than you got in your friggin' whole body. Okay? He's been doing this for 25 years. Maybe he doesn't show because he's not you, as for all the social media and all the friggin' let's get a 5-man crew of film guys and film it 10 different ways a Sunday and sit there and then we'll post it and then crowed. Oh, oh, we're so bad, we're so good. You know, you guys show exactly who you are. You're young, immature kids that want to come at this, and you think you know what you're doing, and you don't have a fucking clue, right? And then you go out there and you perpetuate that to the public and give your sport and give your whole thing a bad name. You know how easy it is for them to come after us sooner or later. They're going to take things like that and they're going to come after us, and they're going to stop us from doing our protection training because of idiots like you. And I know it's wrong of me to come at you, because somebody else would say that I respect, that we're here to guide you and to grow you as a young man and all that good stuff, and to help you find your path and all that. In other words, to justify you having that mental attitude, instead of coming at you a little strong and putting a kink in your ass and saying you were wrong, right? Personally, if it was me and I had the club that I'm talking about and I was the head of it, I'd put your ass on the bench for a while and I'd suspend you, and I'd let the word go out that that's what happened, because you were part and parcel of that little episode, right? Because the sport and its image and everything else he's trying to build is more important than your little funky little ass. So enough said. Go ahead and get pissed, get mad, sit there and talk to your friends in your Instagram little rooms with 10 or 12 of you sitting there talking shit. Social media sucks because you guys aren't going to pull your head out of your ass because you're going to convince yourself that you're right. You're not. You're wrong. All right, so enough said from my normal rant type of a slant, because that's just who I am. I wish I could be more kind. I wish I could hold your hand and pat you on the ass and make you feel good, but that's not my way of doing things, right? So, bottom line, you guys were wrong. It was improper, and you should just go ahead and say you're sorry. You're right. You watch the video a little bit back and you can see how somebody would think that way. You need to take a serious step back and look at yourself, because remember, in the end, you are a reflection on our industry, right? Regardless of what you're into, what you think, you are a reflection on our industry. Think about this. The general public has no clue. What do you think they think about something like that, right? You have to respect that point of view, because they're the ones that are going to make or break us. They're the ones that pay your way. Those are the ones that are going to pay you for your decoy work. And as time gets along, nobody will touch you, right? So, enough said. I'm done. And I have no idea. And the person I'm talking about knows who I'm talking about. He may not have been out there in that group, but he's probably friends with them and everything else. He jumped in on the thread and started opening his big mouth, right? I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and really look at the video to really see if he was a part of that group. But bottom line, he's a part of that whole mental attitude, okay, in your work, all right? So enough said. You guys have a good day. I just thought I'd chime in with my opinion. It was wrong. It was improper. And you need to step back and look at yourself and think about it, okay? I'll talk to you later.